midst of Parashat Pinchas, we find a brief account of the daughters of Tzlachad, who passed away leaving no sons and 5 daughters. At that point, the Torah had mandated only sons could inherit the land of their fathers. Accordingly, as things stood, when the Jewish people would enter the land of Eretz Yisrael, their family would not receive a share. Consequently, they came to Moshe with a request and asked that they receive the portion of their father's land. Now, on a superficial reading, this request does not seem out of the ordinary, but in reality, they were literally asking Borei Olam to alter the laws of the Torah. Incredibly audacious, as it almost implies that Borei Olam forgot to address this point at Matan Torah. What is equally astonishing is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu agreed to their appeal and instructed Moshe to amend the Torah for the daughters to inherit land if there are no sons. Chochmat Nashim Banta Beita. Yehuda, who lived in Bnei Brak, drove a van for a living. One day he received a call from someone in Yerushalayim who needed a lift to a family simcha in Bnei Brak. We'll send one of our children downstairs. Simply honk when you're in front of our building. When he pulled up and honked, as he's been told, a little girl with a backpack happily approached the van, opened the door, and sat down in the back seat next to the window. Moments later, the balance of the family arrived and jumped into the van. Their father sat in the passenger seat next to Yehuda and conversed along the journey and disembarked an hour later when they arrived at the hall in Bnei Brak. Yehuda then headed home, and upon reaching his own building, his phone rang again. This time, it was his wife. It had already been an exhaustingly long day, and he really just wanted to go home and rest before Arbit and his shiur. "Where are you?" she inquired. "Downstairs. I'll be up in just a moment." "Good, you're here. It's my night for Hesed at Ezer Mitzion. Would you please drive me there?" "Honey, I'm exhausted. I literally just pulled up. There's no way to catch a ride. Please, they're waiting for me. I'm late. It'll only take a few minutes, and I can't get a taxi at this hour." Yehuda, he didn't want to refuse his wife. He took out the keys, got back in the driver's seat, and revved up the engine. As his wife emerges from the building, she opens up the back door to stow her bag, and in that instant, a piercing shriek escapes her lips. Lying on the back seat is the little girl with the backpack, sound asleep. Yehuda jumps out of the van. "What? How could they possibly have forgotten their daughter? How irresponsible! But why haven't they even called looking for her? It's a miracle we came back to the van. Had I stayed home, she could have been there literally all night." Yehuda took out his phone, scrolled through the phone numbers to contact the family he had just dropped off. The issue was, they had called from their home in Yerushalayim and likely were still at the Simcha in Bnei Brak. Left without alternatives, Yehuda returned to Bnei Brak. He dashed into the hall, pulled the father outside, and began yelling, "How could you possibly forget your daughter in my van? What's wrong with you? Who does that?" The father quickly calls his wife, rounds up all of their children, and sees that in fact all 4 daughters were present and accounted for. "I think you're mistaken, sir. We have all of our children." Yehuda leads the father to his van and shows him that the little girl is sitting in the back seat. The father peeks inside and says, "It's not my child. In fact, she was there when we entered your van. She was in the back row, and we had naturally assumed that she was your daughter." The silence was tangible. Yehuda began to think to himself, the child entered the car in front of their building, way back in Yerushalayim. He was certain that she belonged to them, although it was now readily apparent that this is simply not the case. At that crucial moment, it fell upon him to locate the parents. In her backpack, Yehuda's wife found a book of music notes, and written in pink glitter was Tzipora Bandag 37 Romema, along with a phone number. Well aware that the parents would undoubtedly be frantically contacting the police, reporting their precious daughter as missing, he dialed the number time and time again, and he persevered until he finally made that vital connection. Hello? Is this the Bandag Mishpacha? Is your daughter by chance missing? Yes! Where is she? All of Yerushalayim is looking for her. Ultimately, it was revealed that this little girl had attended her music lesson that afternoon. Typically, her father would be the one that would pick her up, but today he had arranged for his friend to do the pickup. As fate would have it, Yehuda arrived precisely at the scheduled time and location to collect this young girl in an identical van. Terrifying to contemplate what could have occurred had Yehuda not acquiesced to his wife's request, potentially averting a disastrous outcome. It serves as a stark reminder of the significance of valuing and acting upon the intuition of those closest to us, mainly our wives. Their visionary perspective enables us to intricately weave resplendent threads within the magnificent tapestry of life. Chochmat Nashim Banta Beta. Shabbat Shalom.